Well, hello everyone. Here we are at St. John's Episcopal Church. We're once again in Cape Vincent. Check this place out. It's a federal style building built in 1841. That is an 8-sided spire you're looking at. Got some beautiful stained glass windows. Consists of a 1-story main block and lower side wing, 3-story entry tower, which is what we were just looking at, and our parish gravesite behind it with gravestones dating back to 1852. In 1985, this place was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Let's take a look and see what we can find. Headed toward the gate here. We were doing construction yesterday, so we didn't get in here. But today we're going to take a look and see. Got a family plot here. I'm going to take a little side step. There is a wall down there. Johnston. And it must have had some kind of a monument there at some point on the top, but it appears to be missing. Got a couple veterans here. John Lawrence, 1913 and 1987. Ethel there. Another John Lawrence, 1887 to 1958. Jane and Brooks. Okay. Let's take a look here. Step over the wall. Over in the private yard over there. You can see it. We have Jesus praying in the garden. Kind of a neat statue. One of our older stones here. $1885. This is a Whittemore. Now we're going to jump right in here. This fellow's name, Delos Sackett. There's quite a bit of information on him. Inspector General of the U.S. Army. He was born here in Cape Vincent, and then he died in Washington, D.C. in 1885. And he actually had a lot of accolades to his name, including being a brigadier general at the end. He was a Civil War Union brevet brigadier general. Breveted first lieutenant of the 2nd Dragoons for his gallant and meritorious service in Texas during the Mexican War, May 9, 1846. He was promoted to first lieutenant of the 1st Dragoons on December 27, 1848, and then promoted to major of the 1st Cavalry during the Civil War on January 1st, 1861. And he served on the staff, joining the Army of the Potomac. Promoted to lieutenant colonel of the 5th Cavalry May 3rd, 1865. Then, lots of different titles here. Became a colonel and inspector general on October 1st, 1861, and remained that rank until the end of the war. He was then promoted to brigadier general in 1881 and became head of the Inspector General's department. So they list his father as Gideon Shepherd Sackett. Don't list a mother for him. Spouse is Frances Ann Williams. He has a brother, Theophilus Bush. And this right here we're looking at, Eliza Ross, is one of his children. So we have Eliza, actually must be related to the spouse of Eliza Ross. Frances Ann is his wife. there is Delos himself with his flag. We have another Francis Sackett. Life of Archibald Fairbank. And then there's Archibald over there, so I'm not quite sure how that figures in. But he had 5 children: Maynard, Delos, Francis, Cornelius, and Eliza Ross. And poor Delos only lived 1 year, 1861 to 1862. Got a woolaver. Oh, he was the vestryman, the sexton, from 1876 to 1946. That's pretty neat. This must be... it's another woolover. Oh, here's a whole section of Nancy, Sarah, Samuel, Mary... what was the Mary Weaver? I do not believe that is one of our relations. It's a matter of we're Weavers, but we're never from that Weaver part of the family. So it's the same way with my maiden name. Lots of people with the same name, but not related to any of them. There's, well, Find a Grave says there's about 250 graves in here. So this is Fanny, wife of W.H. Smithers, 1889. She died. Arnold Sluman. A couple over here that are just kind of sitting on their own. Between it and the fence. Oh, I found my hole for the day. Okay. August 6th, 1861. This is a really big black walnut tree. That's really cool. So these guys, just as a side note for nature, they smell really fragrant, almost floral. The black walnuts, however, once they are opened and sitting in water, make an amazing ink and dye, but they stink to high heaven. Starkey. This poor plot looks like it's been abandoned for a while. Got some really cool fencing around it. Oh, there's a couple hiding in there. And, oh dear. Got a little one there. Sally, I think it says. And there's another cross in the back there. Lots of old gravestones. And holes. Okay. Here we have a pretty scroll and a rose on top. Julia, who was the daughter of James and Julia E.S. Ainsworth. She died January 7th, 1865, 10 years old. And here are other members of the Ainsworth family. Some of these folks actually have images on Find the Grave of what they looked like when they were alive, which is pretty cool. Because we're hitting into the age of photography here. Whereas in our hometown, there's a lot of revoir, and unless they were painted, you don't know what they look like. Sarahette. Almonte. Gonna go left-hand side and then come back around to the right. These are all fascinating. Another April 15th, 1869, Ferdinand Hassler, Richard M. Hansen, 1893, and there's Betty Hansen Desengrimmel. There are some really cool names. Euphemia, that one I've actually seen before. And we have a mason with that really sharp relief carving on some of these. So you go from that one over to this one. Different types of stone, different types of carving. Even a difference of a couple of years, the equipment was improving. Jonathan Howland. He died October 12, 1841. 60 years old, 2 months and 28 days. Sir William Pierce Howland of Toronto, Canada, the sole surviving child, now in his 95th year, takes this opportunity of testifying to the great goodness and perfect character of his dear father. It says his grandchildren joined with him in the erection of this monument as a token of their love and respect. Wow. Very touching memorial. Francis. Elijah. This one. Wow. The top and bottom must have been separated for quite some time because the leathering on them is significantly different. But it's been repaired really well. Just take a little stroll around here. The cemetery, they mentioned several Civil War veterans. So when we see some flags, we know most likely Civil War. I'm going to go out on a limb, take a guess on this, and say that they were probably children. Another Mason. Francis Moffat. He died in 1872, and I believe that's 48 years old. His wife Mary is there with him. Elizabeth Laird, relict, there's that word again, of Richard Songhurst, and wife of Thomas Hudson. Wait a minute. So I thought relic meant widow. We're going to have to look that up because she was the relic of Richard Songhurst. Maybe that means she's a child of. Because then it also lists spouse. Richard Hobson Songhurst. Oh, I kind of like that last name. Some empty spots in between here, which probably, in most cases, means we're missing some stones. I missed this big obelisk over here. Let's take a look. It's got a well-weathered bit of ornamentation on the top. It's the urn with the drape on it. Let's see, Alexander Armstrong and his wife Anne. The ability to carve draped fabric is well, it was anyway, a huge status symbol for an artist to make it look like real cloth. So, Elizabeth, wife of Robert Armstrong. She died November 1st, 1863, aged 38 years, 10 months old. There's the hand with, I think that's a flower. It's very pretty. So here's another one with a really strong carving in it. Oh, cool. Adolphus F. Iselin, born in France, November 10th, 1819, died May 25th, 1881. Gone by forgotten. You're very much remembered. So, I'm sure I mispronounced the last name because I speak a little French, but I'm not very good at the accent. This one's seen some weather. Both of these have. Let's move on over this way. John Graham, 1866. We've got Henry, Mary, Blum. Modern looking stone. He died in 1892. This is Jacob. And Christina, his wife, died in 1896. The little guys there. It's a neat looking obelisk. Bernhardt. 1860 and 1865. Now, it looks to me like they didn't add the death dates on there. So, maybe that was an oversight. Maybe that is the death date. Maybe they moved away. Mason, their son, 1882 to 1900. No, he wasn't very old. And nobody else on this one. Very quiet here today. Yesterday they were doing construction. It was not quiet. There's another soldier in here who died. He's a Civil War soldier. He actually died of disease. Little one. Now let's do this without getting everybody motion sick. But 2 years. Elizabeth. She was 5 years. Poor Fred and Anne. They didn't have very good luck. Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting. It's really not the way it was meant to be put up, but I guess it's standing in a fashion. At least it's not laying on the ground. Calvin Keith Poole, September 20th, 1805 to September 4th, 1874, and his wife Jane. Norris Merrill Poole, November 20th, 1842, January 14th, 1864, buried at Washington, D.C. I have a veteran there. once again, you see these little stones. You know, I can't read the ages, but they were little ones. And Frederick, a sibling, died when he was 26. And there is Mom and Dad. Very clear on this one again. Margaret Clark, 1848 to 1902, and her daughter Anna, 1878 to 1898. So Anna was only 20. Got a couple that are down, returning to the earth. Let me pass this. Slow turn. Little obelisk. It says Carrie, and then I see Bushnell down there, and that's about it. So, she's associated with this stone, and I'm assuming she's a little one. You just kind of get a feel. I mean, some of them were small, some of them were modest. These people just didn't have the money. But there's kind of a style to those children's stones, those different symbolism. Oh, it's another flag. Captain Harvey Howard. That emblem is very cool. Got the anchor on it. 1841 to 1911. Now this is interesting. We have Husel Prairie. 46 years old, died. So then we have a stone with a Masonic emblem on it, and there's something written on the top, and I can't make it out. So then right next to it we have Infant, which is terribly sad. Then this one, the name I think is Meyer on it, and all it says down below is far better. Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? I'm assuming it had to do with the belief that they had gone to a far better place. But it's just very stark. It's a very poignant thing to see on a stone. Abram Cooper. Francis Pearson is coming up, 1866. That is a tree stump. Oh, jeez. For my next trick, I'll walk and chew gum at the same time. It doesn't turn out well. George S. Allen, 1837 and 1911, 28th Regiment, Lieutenant Artillery, New York Volunteers. So, a couple of our veterans here are missing their flags. Minerva, I love that name. Even before Harry Potter, I've loved that name. Wife of Paul T. Whittemore, so she was 59 when she died in 1882. And here is Paul, her husband. Died in 1910. And Miranda, their daughter, 1852 to 1908. Working our way back to the front, I think I saw one more flag that I had missed. Oh, maybe I didn't. John Moore. York Volunteers, 24th New York. There's bits I can't get there. Company K or H? And we have another Mason. James D., son of Robert and Elmira Moore. And he was only 27. There we have it. We've done kind of a quick run through, but I'm going to leave you on this one. Oh, wait a minute. We'll come back to this one in just a second. Charles, F.G., and Axa, or Atsa. And the only other place I've ever seen that name was in the Colonial Cemetery in Johnstown, New York, which is my hometown. Very interesting. So husband and wife here. No, wait a minute. Charles was the son of C&A Farron. Oh, that's their son. And then Atsa is the wife of Calvin Farron. So Calvin is missing. And then there is the daughter, Eliza. Right. So back to Farron. Oh, perhaps this is Calvin. I can't read this. But if you look closely, you can see the 3 rings. The chain unbroken. And on the back. So, with that, we will wrap this up. And I thank you for joining me on our little walk again. Still getting used to the equipment, so I apologize if bits of this are not focused in properly. But everybody has to start somewhere, don't we? And I'm so glad that you have decided to join me in this new venture. I've always loved the cemeteries and the stories that they tell. Each one of these stones is a life, or several lives. It's like a library of souls here. I'm going to say what everybody else says on Facebook. If you like my channel, please subscribe, and what did they say? Do the thing. It'll only get better from here. Lots of YouTube tutorials on how to edit and fix what I'm doing. I wish you all good health, happiness, and a wonderful day. Take care, and see you again soon.